would like to advise all those present that notice of this regular meeting of January 2nd, 2025 has been provided to the public in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of time and place of this meeting has been included in the annual notice of meetings, which was posted and filed with the city clerk and with the Jersey Journal and the Star Ledger. An additional notice of time and place was posted and filed with the city clerk and was forwarded to the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger on December 27th, 2025. The regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Bayonne is now in session. Ms. Medina, please call the roll.
Mr. Booker?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Ms. Weimer?
Here.
Mr. La Palusa?
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're going to go a little out of order, and we're going to start with R5, which is authorizing the city to execute its second one-year option under agreement number CY 21071 with A&L Disposal LLC for solid waste collection services as amended for a period commencing January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 for an additional amount of $1,969,855 for an additional one-year period, thereby making the total contract amount $8,128,852.50. I'd like to move it. No one would like to move it?
So move.
Second.
Any questions on R5?
Yes.
Are we going to do public speaking after this? Because I signed up for public speaking.
Yes,
Oh, after? Usually we do it before a resolution, so.
but I have no ordinances, so
For introduction, though, no? Is this for introduction?
resolutions are for adoption.
No, I know, I meant, normally we do it after leftover business, you know, second reading ordinances, then we do public speaking, and then we do this? No? Okay.
But we're doing resolutions.
So I'm just talking on this, so unfortunately, I'm quite not understanding why this was taken off the agenda 2 months ago. Never sent out to bid. It was on the agenda, taken off. And just re-added. Was there some other work done? And I don't understand why, like you said, this is worth $8 million. Why we didn't go out to bid when we went out for everything else to try and see if there's a better pricing for the residents of Bayonne, you know. You can always go out for an RFP and then do your extension if you want. I'm just not understanding why we didn't fight for the residents, fight for our tax dollars that we're not paying. Maybe there was a better deal out there. Maybe even the same contractor would have given us a better deal if he was forced to rebid and not just, you know, have it handed to him. And unfortunately, I live in the first ward where there was no recycle for the last 2 weeks. I get it. It was Christmas. It was New Year's. Happens every year that the same day, so one ward is always going to be affected by that, right? But in the past, we always had to pick up maybe the next day because the garbage trucks can just pick it up. I don't know why that couldn't happen, but it didn't. So if any of you, I know you're all on Facebook because last month's meeting, you were well prepared based on comments on Facebook about traffic and everything. So you should have seen the comments about the people in the first ward, especially those who live in multi-family dwellings, the alleys being filled with bottles and recyclables and plastics because it is holidays, so you generate more garbage. 100 million Amazon boxes came to Bayonne, I'm sure. Then the day after Christmas, what was even more interesting, the regular garbage was picked up by the City of Bayonne trucks and the City of Bayonne workers. I'm not sure why, if we pay a contractor who we're renewing without having even looked for competition for, why they didn't pick up. Do we get reimbursed for that? How does that work? There are plenty of times where I know the city comes out and does the missed garbage pickups. Does anyone track that? I know there's contingencies in the contract about, you know, fines that happen and reimbursements that happen when the city's going out, because I feel like I'm paying twice, right? I'm paying a contractor to do it, and then when they miss it, my tax dollars who pay those DPW workers come out and do it. So I'm not, like, you know, sure. So I'm just kind of question in that. And then my other question about this is, this contract says it's with A&L, right? That's who the contract is with. But on the document that I received in Oprah, A&L is listed as a subcontractor. So are they the subcontractor or are they the contractor?
The contractor.
Oh, because on the document, it says they check off subcontractor that was provided for the Payvel certification. So I'm just trying to understand.
On the payroll certification, I believe the contractor leases employees. Mr. Patel is here, can probably explain that better. But as a lot of providers of this service have taken to, they're using a Payworks or some other entity like that so that the contractor doesn't have to deal with the workman's compensation issue. It's done by the company that they lease the employees from.
And how much is the increase from last year's contract, from the fourth year, or the fifth year, because it was the second year?
This is the second year, and it's a $100,000 increase,
$100,000 increase
same as it was last year.
for the same services, no extra services, just $100,000.
Same services.
for- And we didn't think that was just a
To
given.
address what you asked earlier about the pickup, we're looking to obviously make it as convenient as possible for the public. So whenever I have an issue that somebody calls me about, that company themselves has come to pick it up. But sometimes I will go through the city, garbage and recycling, and they'll call that company. So I don't know, I'm not saying the city hasn't come out and picked up like you mentioned, but whenever I call them, A&L comes out and picks up if they did this.
Who do you call?
So,
Who do you call?
garbage and recycling.
No, that's who I call. I usually send Jackie a number of emails about it, multiple days. Leave it
Right.
out, they'll come. Leave it out,
Which
they'll
goes
come.
through Public Works.
Yeah.
Mr. Cotter, would you like to address the picking up of the garbage during the holidays?
Working? Okay, good. No light. As you know, we had the holiday schedule the way it fell this year with the nighttime garbage, with recycling, Sims being closed and HCIA being closed, that it was going to be Christmas Eve, garbage was going to be picked up in Zone 3 on Christmas Eve, I believe, right? It was Zone 3? Yes, Zone 3. That meant that they were not
That's
able to
Uptown, yes.
dump their
Tuesday night.
garbage because the facility was closed. So they pick up the garbage, the trucks are now full of garbage, they got nowhere to dump them. In their contract, they don't pick up on Christmas. So we made it so that I figured out we can do with our guys, rather than make it wait a week to pick up garbage, because your next day would have been Sunday, I believe, Sunday night for garbage. We went out and picked up the garbage rather than have the garbage on the street, because people are going to put it out regardless. Not everyone pays attention to the website, not everybody listens to the robocalls, and they all put their garbage out there, and then it lays out there for a week. So rather than it lay out there for a week, I made the decision that I'd rather us pick up the garbage and do without recycling, because there's no way to bring the recycling anywhere anyway. So we were able to go out on Thursday, after the holiday, and pick up the garbage and the recycling in Zone 1. Now, Zone 2, the garbage was going to get picked up, so the recycling that was out on Christmas got picked up the following day. Same thing that just happened with New Year's. New Year's was another thing. They're closed. We have no place to bring it. So we wind up taking the recycling, I'd rather pick up garbage than recycling. People can hold their recycling. If
I'm
they
a little
can't-
confused,
If they
Tommy.
can't,
So there was no, but the day after New Year's, they picked up the garbage, right? Like yesterday, A&L picked up the garbage. So was it closed for more days over Christmas, the dumps? I'm following, I would expect to be the same behavior because it was the same number of holidays.
no, but A&L doesn't have, or any garbage hauler that we have, doesn't have to pick up on Christmas.
No,
It's
I
not in
understand
their
that. I wouldn't
contract.
expect anyone to. Of course
I
not.
can't make him go out and pick up Zone 1 the next day on Thursday when he is then picking up Zone 2, I believe, right? Zone 2? Yes. Yes, Zone 2. There's no way to do garbage and recycling and garbage in the whole town. It's just
We-
not feasible.
We usually leave it out for the next day in the past. We've done that with other,
Yeah, we left
every
it
other
out the
year.
next day, and then it was picked up, like on New Year's, for
it-
example, like today when we came in, we got a lot of people from Zone 2 calling up about their recycling. Anyone who put it out on New Year's Eve in Zone 1 got it picked up on Christmas, not Christmas, New Year's, yesterday. And anyone whose recycling is still out there, if they put it out there, will be picked up tonight.
It's going to be picked up as garbage or recycle? Because I didn't leave my garbage out, and I'll tell you, all the recycle that was left out on Christmas was still out there the next day, didn't get picked up. I know that. Like, my neighbor's garbage, the recycle sat out there for like, till the Sunday, till the next garbage day. Like, I mean, that's what happened. I mean, I didn't see anyone come around and pick up the accidentally put out stuff. And it's a little tough for businesses. I mean, you live by a business. They have so much garbage over there to ask them to go, 3 weeks essentially without putting out their recycles and cardboard. That alleyway was a nightmare. I mean, it's just, we
The
already,
only other option, when the facilities are closed, the only other option we have is that people can bring their recycling to the recycling yard. If I tell you to bring your recycling to the recycling yard, you're going to say, how am I going to get it down there?
no, I know that, yeah.
But right or wrong, like,
Yes.
that's
No,
the only
I
other
get it.
option.
I understand that, but usually in the past, I did sit up there for 8 years. In the past, we would do a double pickup on the other days. We would split it out so that they didn't have to go that long. No one ever went that long without pickup. We would do, Suburban would come and do, say, they would do the second ward and the first ward in the next garbage cycle. They wouldn't wait, skip a whole thing. Yes.
They would pick it all up
Yeah.
with everything else. They would just commingle everything and.
Yeah, but they would do multiple
weren't doing
wards. No, but
separate.
they would do multiple wards. They would do the first and second ward or,
When
no.
Suburban was here, it was one whole day. They
Yeah.
picked up the whole garbage.
Exactly.
And recycling, so it wasn't,
Okay. well,
we didn't have different zones.
That's fine. I'm just saying, I'm saying, I remember when this was up, I think last year, and there was a lot of, and garbage pickup is better than it has been, but there was always a lot of issues. And I remember Gary sitting up there saying, oh, we're gonna, and I think Lloyd even, we're gonna look into options. We're gonna hold people accountable. We're gonna, then really, I'm just saying, it's a big amount of money. We hear a lot about a lot of noise and platitudes about small amounts of monies that are being spent in the city, but there's a lot of money being spent here. And it's known, I'm not disparaging anybody, but it's also known how reliable is the company. There's, plenty of documentation out there about financial issues and settlements and everything. It's a necessity, as we can see, just missing one day of garbage, the whole downtown was a disaster. I just drove down 30th Street, there's cardboard all over the place. It's not something that we should really be taking lightly. It's one of the things that is very visible and affects every single resident, whether you're a homeowner or a tenant in this town. So, thank you.
There's been issues with all the past garbage companies as well. I'm not making excuses for this garbage company who's had their own headaches as well. And I have grilled them. I've spoken to the owner. I've spoken to their legal department about getting this right. And it's been a number of years that they've been here. And I would say that I have the same issues with them that I had with Roselli and Galaxy. And I've been here a long time. And I don't see a difference in the level of service. It has gotten a lot better than when they started, and I guess there's growing pains when you start. But I did hold their feet to the fire, and it has gotten a lot better. And I think my colleagues agree with me that they were unhappy in the beginning as well, and now it's gotten a lot
So
better.
we're saying you guys are happy with the service?
I didn't say I was extremely happy with the service. I said, but I've had these problems with the other garbage carriers who also put bids in the past. So since I've been here the longest, I'm just explaining that this seems to be a problem that happens with garbage haulers. All of these garbage haulers have the same issues and same problems.
I understand that, but if you don't even make people bid for it and it's a known, I'm just gonna get it.
And
Because
we
you
have-
didn't change anything, you didn't go out to bid 3 months ago, you pulled it off for some reason, you changed nothing.
And we
And in my own
actually have-
opinion, I'm gonna say you did it because you knew people were coming to that meeting to speak on it that night. So you pulled it because you weren't ready to deal with the questions.
I had questions myself,
then-
and that's the reason why I was pulled, because the council had questions.
Yeah, because of information, yes.
Right.
That they were made aware
Information,
of, yes.
Exactly.
Got it, understood.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you do it today at a meeting, which, as we know, that started 10 minutes late, that is at a time that is not conducive to anybody in the city who works, who works a non-public job, works in the private enterprise. Most people aren't home and available for a meeting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So much for transparency and wanting public input. I think that's why it was not done at the December meeting when there was people here, and why it was done today, when I asked about why you were doing it. I'm just saying, all right, well, just, you know, so, but there you go.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
We have questions. It's my discretion to hold things off, and I used my discretion to hold it off, and so did the rest of the council.
Mr. Patel.
Mr. Patella, do you want to come up and explain a few things?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Chris Patella. I'm the attorney for A&L Disposal. And I would just like to respond, if I could, to the last speaker with regard to some of the issues that were outstanding in her mind. First, I would like to talk about what happened in 2020 when my client was a successful bidder. That company that you had before, Suburban Roselli, because they were unhappy that they didn't get the bid, they weren't awarded the bid, stopped collecting garbage for 2 weeks during a period of time that they were obligated to collect garbage. So they left the city high and dry for 2 weeks, and Joe Belowski and A&L Disposal jumped in and took care of that problem. In addition to that, part of the contract requires about 18 containers to be provided by the disposal company for use by the city for housing authorities and places where you can't put out 200 bags of garbage. 2 weeks before their contract was due to expire, Suburban Roselli came back and took their containers away. But if you recall, before they took their containers away, whatever garbage was in those containers, they dumped into the parking lots of the Housing Authority, the Board of Ed, and a variety of other different locations. Joe Belowski and A&L Disposal came to the city's aid and cleaned up all of that trash. Would have resulted in rats, mice, insects, squirrels just running rampant, and it didn't because Joe jumped in. Now, as far as the last speaker talking about why didn't you go out for bid, there may be somebody out there who's going to be a little bit better. Let's go back to the 2020 bid spec that was issued. There were a couple of companies that bid. One was my client, A&L Disposal, and the other was Suburban Roselli. With regard to recycling, we were the lowest. Roselli was second. Roselli's recycling bid was $8,594,000. A&L's bid was $5,290,000, a savings on a recycling contract alone to the city of Bayonne of $3,304,000. On the solid waste bid, Roselli came in with a bid of $14,801,000. A&L Disposal came in with a bid of $7,420,000, a savings on the solid waste contract alone of $7,384,000 to the city of Bayonne. In total, A&L saved the city $10,688,000 $10 million by bidding, because if that wasn't the case, if we didn't come in and bid, Roselli would have been the lowest bidder. So there was a $10.5 million savings because Joe Belowski's theory is, I'd rather eat oatmeal than no meal. I walked out of this room. Joe was on the job that day, so he wasn't here. I walked out of this room, and I picked up my phone, and I said, Joe, you just lost $10 million. But he was fine with that. And he was fine with that because the kind of guy that he is, now these are all, a lot of people think that there can be some collusion or corruption, and there's theories all around as far as why Joe got the job. Well, he got the job because it was a sealed bid. And that process is such that if the bids have to be in at 11 o'clock, you walk in that door, you go up to Amy Delabella, you hand her your sealed bid, and when 11 o'clock hits, she shuts the doors, nobody else can bid, and opens those bids right there where Ms. Medina is sitting, and announces the amount. Sealed bids, no backdoor work, no behind-the-scenes corruption, all of this conspiracy that's being thrown out there by one particular person that resulted in some large dissertation being sent to all you folks is nonsensical, all right? Just because you throw something up against the wall doesn't mean it has to stick. But in some minds, people do believe that it sticks. Joe's the type of guy that even though he was awarded that contract in a sealed bid and wasn't required to do anything else for the city of Bayonne, he did a number of things. He donated $179,000 to the city of Bayonne for a police command center. There was a fire pumper that was purchased. Joe's been paying $27,000 a year for the last 5 years towards that pumper for $135,000. He tried to donate to the city an F-250 for use by the Office of Emergency Management, which is $60,000. But because there was this backlash, I advised them to just take it back and not donate it, which is a shame, because Bayonne lost out on $60,000. So here, you want to go out to bid, save $10 million on this. How much better do you think you're possibly going to do? All right, and as far as that one box that was checked, Mr. Coffey is right. We utilized a service, it's a payroll, it's a leased employee situation. Companies will go to 10 different companies like Joe's and lease them employees. And this way, you're not trying to get better rates for your workers' comp insurance, you know, and when you buy in volume, when you buy workers' compensation in volume, you get a better deal. It's just like Costco. You know, it's the same kind of theory. It works very, very well. So in essence, with regard to those employees and the payroll sheets that the last speaker spoke about, yeah, we are a subcontractor with regard to that payroll, and that's why that box was checked. You know, once again, there was a little learning curve in the beginning. This was Joe's first contract. He's up to speed. He's very responsive. I know Mr. Cotter will back me up on that. There's not a day that goes by where Joe doesn't want to make sure what's being done for the city of Bayonne is done the right way. With regard to the week regarding Christmas and New Year's, you know, we get an eclipse every couple of years. It just happens. You can't predict it, and it just happened to fall on Christmas and New Year's on a Wednesday when that affected the first ward. Tom did the right thing, sending the city trucks out, but we couldn't do that on Christmas or New Year's because the recycling center and the solid waste center was closed. So we couldn't do that. But that probably won't come up for another 10 years.
Right.
So hopefully we'll never have that problem
I'm just
again.
glad it wasn't in the third zone, because not only is that obviously in my zone, but it's twice as big as the other zones.
There you go.
So
Okay.
it would have been even a bigger mess.
All right. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer if any concerns that you have, either today or call me any other time.
Well, we have two things, you know, on the agenda. So when they come up to vote, if we have more questions, we'll call you up.
Great.
But as
Thank you.
far as holding off, when there's certain allegations made, if we have questions, we need to hold off and then get the answers either from you or from the contractor.
Okay.
And that's the reason why it was held off the way it was.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Chris, I do agree with you. I don't think we're going to get better service. I dealt with some of the other companies, and I've been through the days where we had city workers out there almost every day picking up garbage and recycling. And whenever I call Joe, I get a response. He comes right in. We're going to get these glitches. When Christmas comes, we always know that. There's no garbage on Christmas. We do the best that we can. We're a society now where everything is disposable. You know, there's garbage, just everything. Everything that you buy comes with more garbage, more packing. So we get a lot more garbage, and people just want to throw it out. We want the convenience of having to just put it out at curbside and pick it up. There's going to be days where we don't have that. It's just not possible. Facilities are closed, garbage trucks are full, we got nowhere to dump it. There's nothing we could do. That's a reality of life. I mean, so if that's our biggest concern sometimes, I think we're doing pretty good as a city, that if all we gotta worry about is that Christmas and New Year's, we're gonna have a garbage issue, and after that, we're in good shape. So, that being said, I don't think if we went out to bid, that we would have gotten a much better deal. We got an increase of a little over $100,000 on each contract. I don't think that would have happened. And that contract was far lower than what was currently available at the time when we did go out to bid 4 years ago now. That was, so. I mean, if you look, we have R7 where we're gonna go out early this year. We're gonna go out, we're gonna put a proposal together, and we're gonna go out and see what's out there. You know, normally we don't do that to, the middle of the year, and then we put so now we're going out probably in maybe February or March, and we should start seeing what the numbers are, which will give us time so that if the numbers are too big and we say, hey, listen, I don't know how we're gonna afford this garbage contract, we have time to evaluate and maybe rebid it or do something else. So that's
Sometimes
out
be
there.
careful what you ask for, though, if you read that article about the
Well, we have
recent
no
contract
choice.
in
You
Hoboken.
We can't do another one-year extension. We're at the end
Right.
of the contract.
No, but I
so-
mean, look at the article about the contract in Hoboken.
Oh, Hoboken, Patterson, everybody's
astronomical.
got anywhere between 30 to 70% increase.
Sure.
And, garbage is a monster. You're gonna spend, we could spend, and that doesn't count the tonnage that we get rid of. That's another $3.5 million that we spend just to get rid of the garbage that we have to pay. So
Well,
it's
I
not
think
just
you would,
pickup,
I think you would agree with me, too, if you looked back on the last provider as compared to this one. It's also, the tipping charges are way, way down in comparison to the prior.
Tipping
provider.
charges, would definitely, I don't like to speak ill of any, it's hard to make accusations unless you have facts. But when you look at numbers and you see $1 million savings in tipping fees alone, when you get a new contract, and the fees have gone up over the years, and you're only picking up Bayonne garbage, that leads you, I don't know what else you could say. I know we had issues with that other hauler picking up contractor debris and stuff like that, so, when you add it all up, Joe's only been picking up garbage. Does he make enemies? Probably because he doesn't pick up somebody's contractor debris, and they go, oh, you go to this town, they don't pick up my stuff. Well, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to pick up household garbage. Contractor debris and stuff like that is supposed to get taken out and disposed of either by your contractor, or if you're the contractor, you get rid of it. So by him making sure he sticks to that he's not picking it up and letting his guys know that was another $1 million savings. And that, you can prove. You just look at the numbers. That's a fact. You can't change that.
And I remember the loose garbage laying in some of the housing authority areas and stuff where they just dumped the container out. And I do remember it being picked up and everything, so, I commend him for that, for doing that. And it has improved a great deal. I was asked, am I extremely happy with your service? I'm happy, but is there always room for improvement? I think we could all say yes. But overall, the service has improved a real lot. And those meetings, I don't know if it had something to do with our meetings with you, but I appreciate that you listened to us and you made the effort to improve it.
Okay.
Harry, I can remember you called me up and they showed no respect to the councilman, one of the
The
haulers.
past, you're talking about the
Yeah,
past
and
haulers, not
He said
A&O.
they were picking up construction
Yeah.
debris out of the house. They were bringing it in out of the yard. And he went over there and said, hey, I'm the councilman. The guys, they don't care. I'm not a councilman. The guys looked at him like, we're getting money for this. They were getting paid on the
they were getting
side
some
to
extra
take
money.
extra garbage that the taxpayer winds up paying for. So that, and Gavin called me
lot
up.
of those
We have to
pickups.
call the police, send the police up there, file a report, prove that they're taking it out. Like, it's a lot of resources you then expend on chasing somebody down who's not doing the right thing.
By the time the police get there, most of the time they're done.
The truck is gone, and then they head over the Turnpike Bridge and they're gone. And then if we don't have a picture, but now we got a hauler that's not doing that, that's saving us over $1 million a year.
Those employees have been made aware from the day one that they start with the job that if you do that, not only are you going to get fired on the spot, but we're going to possibly file criminal charges against you because, in essence, you're robbing money from the municipality.
Yep, I
So-
agree with that.
We haven't seen that.
Right.
We haven't, that's one of the things that, it's prevalent in the garbage business. we know that.
Sure it is.
But if you stay on top of it and the town's enforcing it, and the owner of the company's enforcing it, you won't have that problem. And that's what we've had over the last 4.5 years.
Great.
So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Medina, let's move forward.
Mr. Nadrowski has another statement.
You spoke once on this. Okay. We're going to do the next one if you want to speak on R6.
On-
All right. Councilman Booker, I just want to jump in, and I just want to echo, give Mr. Cotter some compliments. And listen, I know this is a sticky issue. This garbage has been going on for a while. I understand that. There were some growing pains in the beginning. And as a resident, just because I sit up in this dais, also, I'm a resident of this town. And yes, there were times when my garbage was not picked up. As a phone call was made, something was done about it. Okay, just like Mr. Cotter, I want to thank you again the other day. In front of my house, we have a big sinkhole off the topic of garbage. But I spoke to Mr. Cotter, I explained to him, my neighbors came up to me, and he came right out. So these are the responses that we're getting. It's not an easy task. You're not going to make everybody happy. The fact of the matter is we have to come up with some workable solutions. And all this contract and money and stuff is a little overwhelming sometimes and new to me. But the responses in looking out for the citizens of this town, I see real strong responses from the people that work for this city. And I just want to thank Mr. Cotter the other day. You did not have to come out and see me on that sinkhole. Okay, it was a big issue. Okay, it's not garbage, but what I'm saying to you is that the responses that people are always getting up here and they're looking at us as, as we're miracle workers. We're trying to work together. Okay, and there are workable solutions. And if you want the town to move forward, you have to work together and stop pointing the finger, okay? And let's work together. Thank you.
So on R5, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R6 is authorizing the city to execute its second amendment, second one-year option under agreement number CY 21070 with A&L Disposal LLC for the recycling collection services for an additional amount of $1,374,348 for an additional one-year period, thereby making the total contract amount $5,584,566. Who'd like to move it?
Second.
Questions?
Sharon Nadrowski, 126 Avenue A. I don't have a problem. I voted for Joe when he came here. I voted for the contract. But I just heard it said up there that I don't think we were going to get a better contract. He's a good guy. He answers the phone. We weren't going to get to him. This is not, like Jay likes to call it, a technicality. It's a fair and open process. We don't say we're not going out to bid because we like the guy we have or because he answers the phone when I call. We follow the process. You go out and you see what you can get. You get the best contract you can for the people of Bayonne, not the people that might be, the friendly guy you want to go out and have a beer with or, hang out with or something like that. How about the guy that's going to do, and I'm not saying Joe's not, but I'm just saying it's a little disturbing that that's what the administration just said up there.
Well, the contract that
The
was,
administration just said that I want to go out to bid because I know, and if you're not colluding, you don't know you weren't going to get anything better, right? Because if you say,
Mr. Cotter
I
said
know
he
we're
doesn't
not,
believe-
I think he said,
Mr.
I know we're
Cotter
not
said
going
he
to get
doesn't
anything better,
believe.
and we're not going to get better service. I'm sorry, I think you need to have a more open mind. That's what you're up there doing.
Mr.
You're supposed to
Cotter
get the
doesn't
bids
vote on
and
this contract, the city council does.
and you got to get the bids and no, Mr. Cotter does review the contract. It doesn't come
reviews
to
the
the regular
contract.
review basis, and he weighs in heavily
but
on who
the
gets that
contract
contract.
that was awarded
By the way,
3
heavily.
years ago, the contract that was awarded 3 years ago called for the option for two one-year options at $100,000 apiece. That was what was awarded. It's their option, and they are going out to bid early this year for the next year's contract to try and ascertain what the market is going to dictate going forward. We know, based upon the empirical data that's out there, there's no secret about the massive increases that other towns have received over the past 6 to 10 months. No secret at all. And right now we are with an under-market contract, no doubt about it. And even with the $100,000 increase in each, which is called for in the original contract that was awarded back in 2021, we are under market.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, for you to, first of all, an option's an option, right? You have it or you don't. You can always go out to bid and then still, execute on your option, your extension if you want, even if you went out to bid 6 months ago and had it, and you didn't like the bid you got, you can execute on the option, because it's still part of the contract, okay? I'm just saying, due diligence would say, what's the harm in going out and seeing what you can get? Why can you get something better? I'm sure, that's my point, is to say that emphatically know that you wouldn't get something better and you wouldn't get better service. I don't know how you know that. That's all I'm saying. You don't know it unless you go and do it and you read them and you explore other options.
Given the imperial data with the increases, we decided to take the option because we know that it's lower right now than what other towns are getting. And so that was the decision that we made. Does he weigh in heavily? Yes, I rely on his advice sometimes on these things, but I don't agree with him 100% all the time either. And he doesn't get a vote up here. The 5 of us get the vote here. And that's the difference. We make those decisions and we stand by them. Mr. Coffey, the reason why this was held up is because there were accusations of illegalities. Did you find anything illegal in R5 or R6 that would make us not want to vote for this?
From a legal standpoint, I think you had discussions with counsel for allegations were made via an email, and you each met individually with counsel for the contractor, and I think he assuaged your concerns based upon the vote that was provided. We did receive another email. Again, the issue was raised. I believe that Mr. Patella has adequately addressed it. I spoke with outside counsel regarding this matter, and I will have outside counsel at the meeting on January 15th if there needs to be any more discussion about this. But as we stand right now, we have a contractor we have an option to renew a contract for additional $100,000 over the previous year. The contractor has performed in to a great extent within the 4 corners of the contract. The 5 of you have adequately advocated for the fact that performance isn't the issue. We've had performance issues with past contractors. I think that this type of service it's endemic to it that there are issues given weather and the nature of the employees and what they're trying to do, especially in an urban landscape. So no, there was nothing illegal about the extension. The allegations that were made, I think, were adequately addressed by his counsel, and you've moved forward.
And we absolutely depend on the legal advice that we get from yourself and questions from the contractor's lawyer, Mr. Patella. And I, again, rely on Mr. Cotter's advice also with the garbage and recycling, since he deals with it all the time. And yes, those things do weigh on us, but it's our decision ultimately.
And Councilman Booker here, and I just want to go on the record that I don't make decisions up here based on the fact that if I know somebody or not. I base my decisions on the information that's provided to me, and I make an informative decision, which I think is going to be the best for the city of Bayonne.
Mr. Patella, did you want to speak?
Just real quick, if I could, Chris Patella. One of the benefits of contracts such as this is that a contractor could come in and bid because they know that they have to make a heavy investment, and they're going to get a contract for hopefully a period of 5 years. How many contractors do you think would have come here to pick up a bid package and submit a bid for a 1-year contract? How do you possibly staff and provide for the necessary trucks if you believe that maybe you're only going to get 1 year? It's ridiculous to think that if you go out for the last year of a contract, that you're going to get better offers. You're not, because let me put it this way. How many of you would run for reelection if you had to run for reelection every year?
That's a tough question.
My question's answered. But nobody here is saying that anything is being done because Joe Belowski is a nice guy. Bottom line is, saved the city $10 million, bought a police control center, fire truck, and on top of that, he's a nice guy. But that doesn't come into the equation. Thank you.
And just so you guys know, the last contract we had went the full 5 years before this contract. With Roselli, we did the 1-year options, we extended, and the reason why we did that, and even John Roselli said it was, you're not gonna, if you don't renew it, you're not getting the price that you got last. And then what happened, when we went out to bid, we seen what his price was, 13 and change, almost $14 million. So he had that big increase. And based on what's going on, I call other towns, I ask them what they're paying. Some towns will tell you, others you find on the internet, you find on, I'll throw a plug out to tap into Bayonne, is actually pretty good at going on what's in Hudson County and what other towns are paying for their garbage. They did in-depth articles on what the increases were. And based on that, and if I'm wrong, we'll find out in a few months when we go out to bid, and we're going to see what the actual cost for garbage is going to be now. So, and I'm sure it's not going to be $100,000 more than what we're paying now.
Ms. Medina?
And Director Cotter, were the same number of years available to us as an option in the prior contract?
What we do is we do a 3-year contract with 2 1-year options all the time. We try to do 5 years because you're going to lock in what we think is the lower rate. Things very rarely go down. They usually always go up. So if things do go down and, you know, all of a sudden the garbage market decides there's heavy competition in it now and they all want to cut their prices and say, listen, I'll do it for a lot less, and you're in a 5-year contract, you know, you got to be stuck in it for 3 years, and then you have 2 1-year options. But I haven't seen it go down. It's only gone up.
No, I haven't seen expenses go down either. I also think, and Chris, Attorney Patella, I do want to thank you also, because you were very helpful in providing information to us, and Lord knows I always have a ton of questions. I do think that the service we are getting today is much better than the service we received in years past. And given also the growing pains that this company had as well. And I do think that one of the most important aspects is that the owner of this company does pick up the phone. I don't call an office. I call Mr. Belowski, as I did today several times, as I did last week several times. And my call is always answered and always responded to. And Lord knows I don't always get the answer I was looking for, but I get an answer. And quite honestly, I'm not sure that anyone could ask for more than that. You named a number of things also that Mr. Belowski has done in the past for the city. I also want to comment, and our director, our head of emergency management is here with us as well. And I know that this happened because it was my phone call that prompted it. When weather was prohibiting the 25th Street pedestrian bridge from being put in place, and I needed fill in order to have that put in place on that day, and believe me, it is a constant battle that I continue to fight. Nevertheless, they were going to, the contractor that we contracted with was going to pull it up and bail and not do it that day because we did not have the appropriate fill. Well, nor did DPW at that time. However, our director, Mr. Cotter, and our head of emergency management happened to be standing next to Mr. Belowski, who said, I have it. Bring the trucks to my yard, and we will place the fill so that that bridge can get in place. And that is what happened. Now, I'm not aware of a reciprocal agreement. I'm not aware of an invoice or a bill that we received. It never came across this council. I believe, I don't know for certain, but I believe it was likely donated. Whether or not it wasn't, it was a resolution to an issue that we had on the spur of the moment that was fixed. And so I am grateful for that, because that allowed residents, and it's still a work in progress, but that allowed residents and school children and things access to another side of town for which would have been delayed continuously. So there are a number of things that Mr. Belowski does throughout the city that I don't know that everyone is aware of. And I am 100% in favor of awarding any contract to a local resident as opposed to somebody that is going to come in from the outside. Because let me tell you, I know where he lives, and I have his personal cell phone number, and I will ring your bell and call you all night long. And I think Joe knows that. And so I appreciate the service that you provide. I 100% think there's always room for improvement, but of course you know that because I tell you on a regular basis. So I want to thank you for the service that you do provide. I do think that Director Cotter, as well as the rest of the council, did a tremendous amount of due diligence in looking at what the contracts are that are out there in the rest of the county and the state that are being awarded today. And that was certainly sufficient for me to know that the price that we're paying is certainly adequate. Perhaps even we are underpriced, but I appreciate it and I thank you.
So with that, on that resolution R6, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R1 is a resolution imploring the Hudson Regional Hospitals LLC to agree to the current collective agreements between CarePoint Health and the Bayonne Medical Center.
Move it.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye, I think this is excellent, and we should implore them to work with their union partners.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R3 is adopting the calendar year 2025 temporary budget.
So moved.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R3 is adopting the cash management plan for calendar year 2025.
Move it.
Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R4 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an indemnity and trust agreement for the period commencing January 1 through December 31st, 2027, and such other documents as are or become necessary for the city to continue participation in, as a member of the NJIIF.
Move it.
Second.
Which is a question.
Question?
Sharon Nadrowski, 126 Avenue A. What is there a change? What is the change in the terms? How much are we paying, and what does the contract read? Is it like when we get professional services, we give them up to $60,000 and they provide so many, and then it's so much per hour, we pay more if it's more hours work they're doing?
No, this is our JIF.
Yeah, to enter into
and
the pool.
We've been with this JIF for a number of years now. The total 2025 assessment is $3,141,731. We won't have the 26 or 27 assessment till they figure out with the other municipalities. But everything is staying the same. We've got the same deductibles, the same coverage. We have I believe it's a $35,000 or $25,000, I think it's $35,000 deductible on our claims. But
Per claim?
On claims, we're obligated up to the first $35,000 of work that they do. If we do it in-house, it doesn't cost us anything. So on any lawsuits that the GIF assigns attorneys to, we're responsible for the first $35,000. Beyond that, it's their responsibility.
Oh, so that's, on top of the contract, we pay the first 35,000 of all the
Correct.
man hours?
Correct.
Well, do we have a number on that? Like how much we paid last year in additional fees on? I'm just trying to understand what the whole contract's worth. Because we always do that, right? We say it's so much money, but then it's so much per hour on and above once you exceed a certain amount. So, you know, you might not have it available, but I would certainly like to understand what we paid in total thing and representing us in litigations against us.
I can get that analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? On R4, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R7 authorizes the purchasing agent to advertise 4 bids for solid waste and recycling services.
Can we move that on a whole, as a whole?
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R8 authorizing and providing for the issuance and the sale of not to exceed $15,900,000 bond anticipation notes of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, to the Hudson County Improvement Authority and determining various matters in connection therewith.
Move it.
Second.
And on R8, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R9 is approving the final change order under the NJDOT-funded Local Freight Impact Fund project for construction of the Maritime Access Road at the Mott-B, reducing the amount by $157,721.10.
Yep.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R10 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Kai Strategic Partners, doing business as Strategic Insurance Partners LLC, for risk management consultant and insurance broker services in the amount of $60,000 for a period of 1 year, commencing January 1st, 2025.
So moved.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R11 is amending Resolution 24-12-18071 for an increase of $10,000, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to take any and all actions, execute any and all documents necessary to exercise the city's second one-year option to renew the shared services agreement with the Bayonne Board of Education, whereby the city agreed to provide solid waste services to the Board of Education, Grammar and High School for an amount of $355,453.30.
Move it.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
12 also is amending Resolution 24-12-18072 for an additional amount increasing in the increase of $12,000, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to take any and all actions, execute any and all documents necessary to exercise the city's second one-year option to renew the shared services with the Bayonne Housing Authority, whereby the city agrees to provide 20, that should say 20, not 2, 10-yard dumpsters to be located at various Bayonne Housing Authority locations throughout the city for an amount of $72,000 paid by the Housing Authority to the city of Bayonne.
So move.
Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And Ms. Nadrowski signed up to speak.
Sharon Nadrowski, 126 Avenue A. I kind of said it before, but the only reason I signed up to speak was to say that we all run campaigns on transparency and wanting to include people in the decisions, but we make meetings. This is a regular meeting, as Gary announced when he started. We should really make them at a time that's conducive to the public to get here. Some of the council people, maybe they were in the back, but you guys came out 10 minutes late. Maybe you were stuck in traffic like the rest of the people. getting in and out of Bayonne is no joke. Most people, I'm guessing, don't work in Bayonne. I mean, they've worked for the Board of Ed or the city. So if you really do want people to have a say in their government and participate, maybe you should make the meetings time more conducive to the working public. Thank you.
Anybody else? With nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Yep. Second.
And on a motion to adjourn, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Happy New Year, everybody. Aye.